guys, what's up and welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's Igor and Nito here. Guys, if you're planning to move to Calgary in 2025, you have to know one of the most important things. It's cost of living here in Calgary. And there are some, besides all the bad news that we have with the tariffs and everything, there's some good news on cost of living. And Nito is going to tell you a little bit about those good news.
Right. So as you can see, this cost of living thing has been going on for a couple of years, and it's not only in Calgary. You see in all the major cities, in Toronto, in Vancouver, and even in not so major cities like, let's say, Saskatoon or Winnipeg. I mean, things are just going through the roof. That's known. But guess what? Now in Calgary, the rents are down by 7.2% from last year. Okay, so get this. Until 2024, that is last year, rents were increasing straight up to 14%. Edmonton may have seen the highest. Calgary, not so much, I guess, maybe on the same par, but 14% increase from the previous years. That's 23, 24 was 14%, and now 25, it's a decrease of 7%. So this is actually good news for people who are renting, but this is where you have to listen carefully, okay? So if you are paying $22 a month in rent.
Okay, Nito, before we go into calculations,
okay,
before we go into your data, she's like a lady that goes into numbers too much. I want to tell you guys that in average, everyone spends 30 to 35% of their income for rent here in Canada. So it's a huge chunk of income. Now, the good part about it is that they went down and it's cheaper. Right now in Calgary, you can rent a room for like $900 a room. There are still rooms like that.
Okay? That's not a basement.
I don't know, it's just a room. Like, some people are crazy. They're asking for $900. There are some rooms that you can find in $600 range still, but a lot of them are asking $900. But now, luckily, you can find a basement for like $1,000 again. So there are basements right now in Calgary in the range of $1,000 for one bedroom. Like, it's not going to be a nice basement, probably illegal one. Now you can get something more decent, like a 2-bedroom one, probably in the range of $1,500. I just want to give you some value, guys, in terms of information first. Like, for example, if you're getting a townhouse, before townhouse, let's talk about houses. So the basement, $1,500. If you want to get an upstairs of the house, it's like in the range of $2,200, $2,400 right now. And if you want to get the entire house, if it's not so good, maybe $2,500, $2,600. And if you are searching for something decent, that is going to be about $3,500, $3,500. If it's a townhouse, you'd be looking at about $2,200 to $2,400 a month. And just, guys, the rents were going up like crazy. Right now, a lot of people who purchased homes during high interest rates were still paying high interest rates, and their rents are going down. There might be more houses coming up on the market, actually. People might be selling more homes, especially those investors that still have those locked higher interest rates, and the rents are not making them much sense anymore. So now Nito is going to tell you a little bit about numbers, guys. I want to tell you that there is a good thing in Calgary in terms of rents going down is that the cost of living, again, makes the city more attractive. Like, what happened? It was a very attractive city, and all of you guys came here, became really unattractive. They're like, oh, they're too expensive now, because the entire Ontario and BC moved here, mostly Ontario, I would say, because BC, the climate is nice. Ontario, I don't know what's nice in Ontario, but anyways, I'm just making fun of Ontario. Niagara Falls, that's where I met Nito, best place. But I'm just saying that a lot of people came here, and Albertans were like, go back to where you came from, stop making our place more unaffordable. Finally, things are getting a little bit better. I'm not talking about cost of groceries, that's still through the roof, but the biggest chunk of expenses for all of us here in Canada is rent. For me and Nito, it's mortgages, right?
Yes.
Like, it's even more because we have like 3 mortgages right now.
Yeah.
So basically now Nito is going to tell you a little bit more about numbers, because she's that person that works with numbers all day long, and she
I'm the person
money.
that makes your life easier. Okay, so there's no bullshit talk, just straight to numbers. So get this, with $15,000 down, you can get a condo with less than $570,000 $70,000 per month condo fee. So, which is basically comes up to $2,200 a month. That includes your principal amount, that includes your interest, that includes your property taxes and condo fees. Okay, so there are condos in Calgary. For those Ontarians and British Columbians who don't know this, there are condos in Calgary that you can get best condos that is right in downtown for less than $570 per month. Anything you go over definitely would mean that your income, you would need a little bit more. And this income with just, $65,000 annually, you can look into buying a $300,000 condo, and by just making 5% down, $15,000 as down payment, you can get the same price that you are actually paying somebody else for rent.
Sit, Nito. Let's sit down. Okay. Now you can give more numbers, Nito, from here.
So that's the rental calculation, and if you want to actually double that, the general rule of thumb, as I always tell people, is always whatever your family income is, that times 4. And definitely there are a little bit more number crunching when it comes to condos, condo fees, and how much down payment you give. So most people know that if you do less than 20% down, you get the best interest rate. And if you give 20% or more, yes, your monthly payment would be lower, but you will have to pay a little bit higher interest rate.
Actually, there is one more interesting calculation. I just had a conversation with one of my clients. I work in real estate as a realtor with XP Realty. I need to work with mortgage architect as a mortgage broker, but I just had a conversation with one of the clients, and I know some people who've been waiting for the market to crash for the past 2 years. And there is one thing that people never take into calculation is how much rent they paid for that past 2 years, how much mortgage they paid off of somebody else who they are renting from. Guys, why me and need to be invest into real estate, why we have so many properties. The biggest reason is over the time, people, amortization period gets over. So if you buy a house and it pays for itself, let's say, better like ours, in our case, generates passive revenue stream, extra income. So over the years, let's say you keep it on rent for 25 years, it pays itself off. So people who live there over the 25 years of rent, they pay off your mortgage. So basically, you go back to your home and you have a paid off house by that time. Now you have so much of equity. Now you have some savings. Now you could renovate, you could sell it, you can keep it on rent, and without mortgage payments, it would generate so much of more income. So in that way, that's the biggest thing. And when you are on the other side, on the receiving end of people who are renting, you're helping somebody. Why would somebody rent a home to you? Like, why would they do that? Like, why would they be doing something like that? With the same purpose as I'm doing it, to pay off the house or to generate some income.
Well, I would say when you're renting, you would have a couple of goals, right? Either you're not planning to stay in that city for long term, right? Number 2 is that
you don't have status in Canada.
You don't have status in Canada, so basically you cannot get a mortgage. Definitely you would have to qualify for an income, and with that is you don't have a stable job. So without a stable job, without a stable income, you have no other choice than to rent. And there are people doing that, and that's completely...
Bad credit could be...
Bad credit could also be a factor, because with bad credit, that comes a higher down payment, which is more than 20 to 25% down payment. And, let's say $300,000 condo, 20% is $60,000. That's like a big chunk of money.
Or just cost of living. Like, it's so much cheaper. Yeah. Like if you don't have a family, guys, like if you don't have a family, you don't have kids, and you're like a solo person living in Canada and you want to maximize your income, you get 6 guys in a basement, in a 3-bedroom basement, 2 people per room, and you put $200 each together. And
well, we are not giving any ideas.
Well, I've seen that. Like we have had. We were international students, so don't tell us, we know how things work. I actually seen this kind of basements. I've seen this kind of basements even in real estate. I've seen basements where you go in and there is like 20 socks lying around, mattresses, and people are just saving costs, staying all together. It's pretty bad conditions. They had a luxury car parked outside. And I don't want to be saying which part of the northeast it was. Oh shit, I was going to not say the northeast part, but it just came out as a, you know, what is this called when you're trying not to say something but it just slips out? There is a word for that. Yeah, it was in the northeast of Calgary, but it happened there. It was basically like international students hoarding the basement, and one of my friends, actually, basically rented there as well. It's because I was an international student myself, but yeah, I didn't do that. I mean, those guys had more money because of that. But if you're comfortable like that, if that's fine with your comfort level, that's cheaper way than to buy anything. But honestly, for me, especially for us having 2 kids, like you want your kids to have a memory of your own place growing up. It's like you're not truly Canadian, I think, if you cannot have a house. And another situation that Nito hasn't mentioned, that people don't buy houses, is unable to save up for a down payment as well, right? And just like incomes don't allow for that. Depends on the situation. Some people going through divorces, different life situations, or in transition between jobs and stuff like that. So buying a house or buying a condo, you have to have more stability. Some people like condos, especially Europeans, because we grow up in condos, in concrete block buildings, probably like people in Mumbai as well. I don't know.
Well, we have been living in condos for a year long, especially in my childhood to being an adult, but I would definitely don't want to live in a condos anymore because it's definitely tight space and you don't want to raise your kids there. It's good for a starter home, and that's the reason why it's called a starter home. But when you have a more number of family members in your family, it's better to upsize a little bit. And the best part is you don't have to, if you've already owned a condo or let's say a townhome, there is less to minimum amount of down payment that is given from your side to upsize onto another newer property with more rooms, more square footage, and we can get that sorted out for you. We have done for about more than 10 clients last year and about 5 clients this year who have done the same thing. Basically, they have paid off all their debts with the equity, with the increased amount of sales price that Eager has got for the client, and they got the top dollar for their house. With that, they were able to transfer the equity onto the newer home without paying anything from their pocket.
So basically, you can, if you have a property that's been sitting there and over the time, getting paid off, and inflation did its job. A lot of people are thinking, oh, the housing market is so expensive in Canada, it went up. Honestly, the value of dollar went down, like the cost of living went up and everything. So now they have equity, and now they can actually, even before their property is sold, they can get, what is it called, portable mortgage?
Bridge financing.
Bridge financing, they can get bridge financing.
And bridge financing is available until 6 months. So even if you are having a delay in closing, let's say 1 or 2 days, you don't have to panic, because this bridge financing is like basically a temporary loan that gets covered by the same bank that you have taken a mortgage.
Basically, what Nito is saying is that, for example, you could go ahead, put your property for sale if you have later on, and before you even transfer the keys, the ownership of the property, before you even got that money, you can buy another house, which could be more expensive, for example, bigger for your family, and you can actually move into that house, and then a few weeks later, your house transitions to another people. So you kind of, people are like, so what? How do I sell a house and I move to another house? How to plan it? I remember people were like thinking maybe do it the same day, maybe stay in Airbnb, maybe do a U-Haul. And then Nito showed up and she's like, well, you can actually go and live into your house and like in a new house before you actually got the money for the previous house that you already sold unconditionally. So that's a crazy thing, guys. By the way, Nito and me, we are thinking of documenting our home renovations. So we are actually thinking to sell our condo.
Our starter home.
Our starter home that we purchased when we first came. We were too terrified to buy an entire house, too big of a mortgage. We were like, you know, that's too much. $500,000. Are you kidding me? Like, for 25 years of age, taking a mortgage for like 25, 30 years, how are we going to pay it off? So we went for that starter home. And then we went for another home, a house. And a few years back, we went and purchased another house. It was a third starter home. But now we are thinking of selling it. But to sell a property, you have to make it in the conditions. So you have to change like flooring, you have to change the paint. And if you want, guys, to see a video like that, just comment down below, and me and Nito, we might make a video, because that's exactly what I do for my clients. I tell them what to do, and then they do it themselves. But I do it for myself right now. So I'm not only...
So we are increasing that curb appeal. Curb appeal is not there inside this because it's condo, but you know, at least it has to look good in pictures.
We are making, we are increasing value and selling potential of a property, increasing the value of our asset, basically, to sell it for more than it is currently would be valued at the current state. So that's the key about it. It's not only about, you know, it's not only about the value, it's also the days on the market. The better it looks, the faster it sells, the less it costs. Because if you have a vacant condo sitting for too long, then it's you're losing a lot of money. So guys, cost of living, actually, it could be cheaper for you to have a mortgage than to have a rent. Because if you do the calculations correctly, on the total amount, it might look like it's more, but in reality, there is a chunk of money that goes to your principal amount, and that is actually paying off your debt. So that I don't even consider. It's like a forced savings, you know. For example, people say you have to go to save on your savings account this amount. That's how the basically mortgages work. It's like forced savings. So the cost can actually be cheaper to own than to rent. Yeah, because that's basically how it works. If the rent didn't cover the mortgage, there would be no rental properties. Investors wouldn't be investing into real estate and keeping them on rent, and all the property management companies. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do you have any questions for Nito?
Comment down below.
And follow us for more videos like this, guys. And ask her if she's going to make videos in Hindi or not. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see Nito talk in Hindi, because I'm already talking Russian on another channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
Bye for now.